Let us talk briefly, I think, about, before we get to the mailbag, about this Ohio election yesterday. I'm very, very wary. You do not hear me reading a lot of tea leaves because I believe the future is not ours to know. And, you know, what we do is it is natural to human beings to seize on what little information we have to tell the future with. And the problem is each election is different, and each election is both local and national, and you never know what's going on in these districts. And when you have a special election in August, you know, you can bet that it's going to be anomalous. It's going to be different. So they have a special election. Troy Balderson in this very, very Republican state, very, very Republican district, running for the 12th district. Running against Democrat Danny O'Connor. He seems to have eked out a victory. And everybody is saying, well, what does this mean? Does this mean that the Republicans are going to have, are facing the big blue wave because Trump won? He underperformed Trump in almost every part of the district. And the thing is that now this, by the way, they'll probably face off again. This is a guy resigned from Congress to join the business council, and so these two guys will probably be facing off again in November. So there's only going to be like a 90-day election, basically. But the thing that I did look at here, because it's not as a prediction of the future, I think it is a warning to the GOP. Trump voters didn't really show up. The rural Trump voters didn't really show up, and the guy won anyway. So good news, bad news, right? Good news is the guy won even without a big turnout from the Trump voters. Bad news, the Trump voters didn't turn out. And there is a real problem with this going forward, because we know the left is going to be motivated. They're going to be motivated by hatred. They hate Donald Trump. They want the resistance going on. They want impeachment. They want all those things. And they could bring this presidency really to a halt, especially in domestic ways. And if they won, I don't think they're going to win the Senate, but if they won the Senate, they would really stop all the judges being appointed and all this stuff. And so the problem Trump has, to some degree, is his success. You can't motivate people to get to the polls on foreign policy issues when foreign policy is going well. And foreign policy is actually going very well. I mean, Trump is doing a good job keeping the world kind of stable right now. And our enemies are on their back heels, and our friends are on their heels a little bit, thinking, well, maybe we should, pony up in NATO. Maybe we have to pay a little bit more for our defense. Maybe Trump has got something to say about immigration that we're going to have to let our people hear instead of silencing everybody who tries to talk about it. And so his success in that way is not going to play, and he should be obviously people should be talking about the success of the economy, and I hope they are talking about those things. But there's also another issue, and this Henry Olsen, I hope we'll have Henry Olsen on soon, he can explain it better than I can, but Henry Olsen has observed that the swing voters are not dedicated to party, and there are two types. They are the swing voters who voted for Mitt Romney and then voted for Hillary Clinton, and there are the swing voters who voted for Barack Obama and then voted for Donald Trump. And the ones who voted for Clinton are not coming back. They're probably lost. But the ones who voted for Obama and then voted for Trump, they don't care about a lot of the things that we care about. What they do care about, and what Trump is doing that they like, is the immigration thing and the trade thing. And when I say the trade thing, what I mean is the America First thing. And a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives are very uncomfortable with this trade thing because they're afraid it's going to ditch the economy. And they're afraid that, we always believe in the most freedom. We believe in free trade. But Trump is speaking into the hearts of many swing voters when he talks about the fact that they took our manufacturing jobs, they manufactured things where it was cheap, and they came over here and we lost our jobs. And his success at bringing some of these manufacturing jobs back. Remember, Obama said he doesn't have some magic wand, and on the internet it says abracadabra, pal, because they're coming back. He has a lot of cred with them. And if these candidates go into these districts and say to them, hey, I feel you. I feel that this is a problem and that we've got to stand up for America, and I'm going to support Trump in this. And also just the loving on America that Donald Trump does. Because I'm a culture guy, I feel that the intellectual right does not understand this. I think both the intellectual left hates patriotism because they hate the West, and they really don't like the country as it stands and as it was established. But the right is uncomfortable with patriotism too, because it's animal, it's passionate, it's native, atavistic. It comes out of the heart, and they don't, that stinks of the mob, and they're afraid it's going to get out of control. But breathes there a man with soul so dead who never to himself has said, this is my own, my native land. Patriotism is natural to people, like mother love is natural to people. And I think that if we don't speak into America, and if we don't say, into the American heart and say that we love this country. And you can, say what you will about Donald Trump, and I've said a lot of things negative and positive about him. He has a visceral love of this country. Remember when that Marine's hat blew off and he put it back on? Just recently, he got out of his motorcade and went and said thank you to the firemen. He does have this visceral connection with the ordinary people in this country. And nobody's ordinary. I don't mean that, but I mean economically ordinary. The people who don't stand out for their political opinions, the people who aren't celebrities, the people who make the country run, the people who built it on their backs, the people who suffer when we abandon them, the people who are insulted when we insult their faith and their country and their patriotism. Those are the people he speaks to. And you can call it populism, you can call it cynical, you can call it anything you want, but it's part of what being an American is. It's part of what belonging to any country is. And some of these Republicans, if they are not ready to speak into that and are just going to talk about the fact that they hate the left and the left is loony, they're going to lose. They're going to lose because they're not going to inspire people to come out. A lot of times when you turn on TV and you talk about turnout, they talk about the ground game. But turnout is not just about the ground game. It is about inspiration. Maybe it's about inspiration more than anything. And we've got to inspire people and get them out, or we're going to lose not just the Congress, we're going to lose the presidency as well.